What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Pixelbane here, bringing you another Dominions for AI Battles. This is Season 1, and this is the upper bracket. We are in the semifinals here. There are 4 nations left in the upper bracket. This is getting exciting. We're getting down to the wire. And motherfucker, it is hot in Arizona. But let's just get right back into it. It is midnight, BT Dubs fam. And it is 100 degrees in this hot Arizona summer. It's 100 degrees at midnight. It's amazing. Anyway, we are gonna have a match between the Kingdom of Man and the Kingdom of Asphodel, and let us begin. All right, let's see what Man's gonna be doing. They're not actually moving out. It's still a shame that we can't see the neutrals here. It would be really nice to see like why Man hasn't moved out here, but looks like they're gonna be building up some Knights of Man. That's a good choice for them. I like to get some of my like higher tier units in the early game because they can really do a whole lot of work against some trash, like the militia units. So the Knights of Man I think are a good choice in general for them. Let's see what Asphodel is doing. Asphodel is going on the aggressive. We might have just the winner here just because of the snowball potential of this game mode. Keep in mind that all resource gain is increased by 50%, all gold gain is increased by 50%, so everything's at 150 basically, to facilitate a more, I don't know, like expansive battle of sorts. And Asphodel's, if you don't know, has a trait based on their dominion. There's these little candles right here. In their dominion, they reanimate dead corpses as mannequins, which are basically free units. And since we're here, let's look at the god of Asphodel. As you can see, he's a demi-lich. He's got 6 death magic, which is really good. Gives undying 4 or 5 or something around that, which gives units the ability to survive being killed, but if they're in undying state at the end of battle, they're taken away forever. The demi-lich is immortal in all this and like vulnerable. It can't move though, so it basically has to teleport around. But as you can see, Asphodel has a lot of like Greek myth, pretty much entirely, obviously, never not, pretty much, it is entirely Greek myth. We have harpies, we have satyrs, we have minotaurs, and we have centaurs. They have black centaurs for their sacred unit, and if you watch the Pangea game, they have the white centaurs, so that's kind of cool. I didn't notice that until now. And like they're holding these Vinemen and Mannequin for their higher tier units. I don't know, this is one of my favorite factions in the game. I have high hopes for them. But if you guys aren't familiar with the series, which is probably like everyone on the planet because very few people know about this series, to win this AI battle, the AI has to either take 450 points of Dominion, which is those little candles. Each territory can give you between 10 to 20-ish Dominion, and there's a total of 30 territories. So you have to basically control vast majority of the territories to win that way. The other way they can win is the annihilation of the opposing faction, but typically before that happens, the Dominion clause kicks in before they can do that because you would have to basically completely stomp the opponent. And then the third way they can win is to take my faction, the third faction, the faction that I'm not doing anything with, and take them out. So if they take me out, whatever faction does that, they are indeed the winner. If I am taken out by neutrals, whoever has the higher Dominion count at that point in the game is indeed the winner. So if the neutral somehow like send a spy, not a spy, but an assassin and kill my god off, then it's gonna be a game over for me if the neutrals take my territory, or like in like the last match, diarrhea took over my territory. Basically, I lost 5 defense and then I had 0 defense in my territory, and it was over. My god couldn't respawn at that point. But we have a map with 2 caves. Like I was saying, like I haven't seen a whole lot of caves in these random map generations, but it looks like saying that is causing more of them to come out. So yeah, I think Asphodel's doing pretty good at this point. Man hasn't moved out yet, and we finally did. Okay, so Man is on the move. As for military strength, I have to definitely give it to Man. It looks like they got desperate and they hired the what are these knights called? This like mercenary group. These Hector Knights or whatever they are. They're a little bit stronger than the normal like neutral knights, but I've been learning from the AI that mercenaries are a good option, even though they lost here, simply because of the massive amount of archers. And it looks like that the Kingdom of Man is in a bad situation. That was probably that. I would willing to bet that was the easiest territory for them to take, but unfortunately they failed that. So these territories must be god awful for them. So I don't know. Asphodel is pushed out pretty far at this point, and they keep going. Asphodel is similar to Aramor, is that you want to stop their advance as soon as possible. They snowball harder. Aramor snowballs the hardest, I think, in my opinion. Asphodel is a second place snowball contender, mainly because they get free units if they control a province and have their dominion in there, which in this early game, it's a guarantee that they have their own dominion in their own provinces. So they're getting free units every turn. So it looks like they failed that against those barbarians. You can't underestimate those barbarians. Those barbarians hit like trucks. They will kill pretty much just about everything. And Uther Pendragon's units of the Kingdom of Man aren't moving out. They're going hard on the Knights of Man here, though. They can't afford all of them, but they really want them. And for some reason, they have line of sight on Asphodel. I don't know. Sometimes this game like bugs out. Like, I don't know why they have line of sight on Asphodel here. And Asphodel is stalled too. So both factions are stalled. Asphodel is in the leading position here. However, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not that big of an advantage at this point, because both of them are about equal distant from my home territory, and if one of them takes me out, that's the end of it. And whoever does it wins. So what is happening in Man? They get fire gems and 1 luck. That doesn't do anything for them, actually. The +1 luck, because as you can see, the base dominion here, we have the dominion of the Kingdom of Man. We have 3 peace, 3 production, 1 fire, which kind of negates some of the bonuses from production and growth. We have 3 growth, 3 base luck, and 3 drain, and then a dominion, I think, of 7. We'll see when our big boy Uther Pendragon comes out, and he should be coming out soon because he comes out of about a year because he's dormant. Let's see what Asphodel's doing. Asphodel is moving out again. I don't know. Asphodel has another advantage because most of their units all their units that they get from the Vinemen from their summons, their free units, all of them are poor amphibians, which allows them to go into water provinces. So the Kingdom of Man can't really do that unless they hire like a mercenary group like the Shipwreckers. Oh, and Asphodel's like failing here. I'm very confused why they're making these bad attacks. It's like almost like they want the Kingdom of Man to make a huge comeback. Lyduk is actually reanimating things. That's kind of cool. And you can see like the Dominion for the Kingdom of Asphodel has a lot of turmoil because you want your province, your people there to die so that there's corpses that can be reanimated. But you want to also counteract the lost income and the loss of production by maxing production. You also kind of counteract that with growth so that you always are growing despite the people dying all the time. Also, there's a very specific thing with the Dominion of Asphodel. They get more Vinemen based upon your growth scale. So unlike Aramor that can go straight negatives and everything, Asphodel can put points into things. They need to, indeed, because in order to get more Vinemen. Their luck is low so that more negative events can occur that can help them out with getting corpses, and then their magic is maxed up because the higher their magic scale, the higher chance of getting a higher tier Vineman summoned by random chance. And we're seeing the Knights of Man coming in here, and they should be wiping the floor with this Knight unit here. And indeed they are. So Kingdom of Man is finally moving out. That was their easiest battle, which I really am curious to see what these are. I'm half tempted to maybe buy some spies so I can send them over here to see what's going on. But I don't want to be making any moves that change the course of the battle. So, I mean, there's 4 territories to 2. It's not a huge disparity here. It's only a change of 2 provinces, and man probably is going to be pushing out quite hard with this cavalry unit. Cavalry and archers are like Kingdom of Man's strongest units. The most diverse of their units is their cavalry because they have so many options for them. It's kind of similar for the Kingdom of Asphodel. They got a lot of choices for their cavalry because of the centaurs. But I'm pretty sure the Knights of Avalon, which are the tier above the Knights of Man that the Kingdom of Man get, beat out the Black Centaurs from Asphodel in a 1-to-1 engagement. But I'm not entirely sure because I haven't really seen a situation where like 5 or so Knights of Avalon versus 5 or so Black Centaurs. So I haven't been in the situation where something like that has happened. But I feel like the Knights of Avalon beat that out because of the magic damage from the alicorn they ride, and then the normal damage that they do, their damage resistance, their HP. And I think they're probably less mobile than the Black Centaurs, but we could definitely check that out, but I don't think we need to. So Asphodel's moving out here. My home territory is here. So if Asphodel keeps moving this way, they will eventually come across me. And I think the Kingdom of Man is doing the same thing. So if they move up this way, they can find me. So it's essentially a race to find my territory first. As I said, there must have just been like crazy. This is a province right next to the Kingdom of Man. This is not that bad. I mean, we got some wolf tribe people. Maybe it changed. Maybe it was because neutral territories can change. Maybe it changed from a really difficult assault to something more easy for them to take. But yeah, this is a completely one-sided match against the neutrals. Let's take a look. And I think they're gonna probably, judging by this, I think they're gonna take Laria next, so that they have a decent, like, front line that they can eventually push out from multiple directions. This is a pretty wide open map. And Asphodel is actually pushing down towards the Kingdom of Man. We have a nice Minotaur squad. Minotaurs are really cool because they have trample. Anything with trample in this game I love. They also have Berserker. Like, look at the power of trample. Like, most units in this game, when they attack, they might maybe be able to move after an attack. But with trample, they can effectively, if they kill something, they can keep moving and keep killing. So, like, they're like the anti-fodder unit of the game. Minotaurs are pretty good. Elephants are my best friend in this game. Like, I love them to death. And Asphodel actually gets a chance to get a vine, and they are going for Laria, a Vineman undead summon of an elephant. And speaking of elephants, I really don't know how loud this is gonna be, or if these elephants are gonna get to attack, but when multiple units in this game do something, it can get really loud really quick. Come on, elephants. I wanna hear it. Hear it. Oh, it feels so good. Oh, yeah. But I think the Kingdom of Man has this. I can see why they didn't take this province early on. Simply because of the elephants. Elephants are really, really strong. They're also really expensive, but that doesn't really come into play for the neutrals. Like, did you see that? It just took out so many of the, like, the tier 1.5 horsemen and took out all of these knights. Oh, they almost lost. The Kingdom of Man's units have started to rout. The only reason that the Kingdom of Man won was because of the longbowmen, which are really good because they can basically shoot anywhere on the map, with like from the far side of their spawn to the other far side because of their range, which is pretty good. Pretty good to have that range. And they have a decent accuracy rating to it as well. Asphodel is now on the borders of Man. Now, I'm hoping that at least one of these factions is set to aggressive, because we have seen, and they are taking this territory, because we already know it's been spoiled by the map. But we can watch to see how much attrition damage is done to this Minotaur unit. So they're attacking Lion Tribe. Lion Tribe is something that you don't want to underestimate as well, because anything that has javelins, like these warriors, sure, they're not as strong as the Legionnaires, but they have javelins, which can do severe damage to units. Like, it's more important for neutrals to do this type of damage because they're causing afflictions, they're causing wounds on units, and now a lot of these probably are wounded in this guy's force, but we're not gonna spoil and see. And wounded units have different stats. They do less damage. Typically, they have less. They get fatigued faster. Stuff like that. But this cavalry force from the Kingdom of Man has been completely devastated by those elephants. Are these Wolf Tribe? No, Wood of Many Paths. This should go the Kingdom of Man's way. And I wonder what they've been making these past few turns. I wonder if they can still go into the Knights of Man. A lot of unexpected events, and they actually bought some mercenaries. They're moving out with some of their units as well. Let's see what they're recruiting. A lot of tier, like, these are better than most, like, really cheap neutral cavalry, so that's why I put them at 1.5. They have the extra armor and the barding and whatnot. But these are the bread and butter for the Kingdom of Man. Basically get like a Knight of the Round Table for this Warden of Avalon. He gets a bodyguard bonus, but you don't really see that a whole lot with the medium AI. He's sacred, so he gets bonuses from their god. But we won't probably see like that really coming into play. And then we have the non-sacred but normal Knight of Avalon with magic damage from the Alicorn's horn and whatnot. Full chainmail, full helmet, kite shield. Only 14 HP, but he's got recuperation, which allows him to like heal away those wounds that I was talking about earlier. And see, this is the problem with Asphodel. Sure, they want the turmoil so that they're causing like potential like people to be dying every turn, so they get more territories, but they have to deal with uprisings. It kind of counters. Uprisings are kind of countered. When you think about how they're getting free units and they could just put a commander there on defend, kind of like this, and they wouldn't lose territories against uprisings like that. But the AI sometimes doesn't do like basic like knowledge things that would save them a whole lot of hassle. Uther is now back up, so now he's free, so we can look at Uther's stats. So this is the hired force. These holy Avengers dudes. Just normal pikeneers. I don't know. Pikeneers aren't really that like amazing. And it's such a small force that if a few more die to like fire spells here, the armies of man are gonna break. But it looks like the pikeneers of the mercenary unit was able to do it. So let's check out Uther Pendragon here. Yeah, so basically sacred units are completely like useless in the sense of getting the sacred buff with Uther here. He doesn't have like any magic at all. I mean, this doesn't give any buffs. So the only buff that those sacred units get is +1 morale, which is nice, but it's not really important for them. Like this Uther build for the Kingdom of Man isn't based around sacred units like the Wardens of Avalon. But other than that, he's got shock resistant, fire resistant, which I don't think are going to come into play against Lyduk of Asphodel. And we're starting to see the Vinemen, the mannequins. There's some Mandragores here, which have like the extra green stuff. Or those are actually satyrs. Where are the Mandragores? There it is. There's a Mandragore. So the Mandragores are just slightly better. They have sleep like vine magic on them. A lot of just very cool, like, I don't know, like attacks and stats that these Vinemen have. And there's so many different versions of them. Like there's the Minotaur ones. There's just horse ones that aren't really that good. But yeah, like, I don't know. I just like hearing that whip noise. It's so satisfying. All right, so I mean, maybe they're gonna be able to put. They got a huge force here, so I think they have the ability with level 2 sacred, or that's level 3 sacred. Yeah, they got the ability to cast Puppet Master or whatnot to boost all the mannequins. So I could be in danger. They could be heading towards me. I don't see any reason why neutrals would be able to stop a force of this size at this point in the game. So Kingdom of Man needs to make some moves against Asphodel next turn. And it doesn't look like they're moving against Asphodel yet, despite being on the borders and pretty much guaranteed a free province. And it looks like both of the mercenary forces that Man has are going to be going against like Bandar Log troops here. But this is pretty much a guaranteed win because of the amount of fodder units are going to cause immense morale down. Yeah, this is why I don't like those trash fodder units. They're just so bad for the morale of your team if you mass them to that extent. But Man is actually, I don't know, I saw this as a Man province, so I mean, it's a little less strong than I thought, but like this is a very good recovery from them. I think Asphodel has territories all around here, so let's check the statistics to see how this is going with the provinces here. So it looks like Man, it does indeed, let's turn my graph off because that's not important. Because they're all like green and it's very disturbing. All right, not distracting. Words are hard. But it looks like, yeah, Man does have, like, I think 1 or 2 territories over Asphodel at this point. And that's where you don't want to be if you're Asphodel. You don't want to be under the amount of territories that Kingdom of Man has. Obviously because of the reanimation of your race, but that Man has an industrious economy. And they're only going to get stronger because of their buffs. The global buff of 50% increase to pretty much anything. I think they are indeed casting Puppet Mastery, which is kind of like, I'm pretty sure it's like Undead, or Call of the Sepulchre, which is another undead sacred spell that the Kingdom of Aramor gets, but it's a specific version for the Kingdom of Asphodel. I'm gonna actually go to my player's turn and see what's going on here. Is this my god, or is my god dead? I think my god might have been killed off and we just missed it. Or I think my god was killed off, so at this point, if I lose this territory, it's actually all over. Oh, unless I randomed a unawakened god. I mean, that's possible as well. Man really likes using these Pikeneers. They're doing a whole lot of work. I just don't know if they're really that good because they are quite fragile. I mean, they're hitting kind of hard. I mean, they're hitting for 15 and 16 damage, but they're dying in one hit to like these normal like spearman militia. I mean, they're doing work. I mean, I shouldn't be saying anything against the Kingdom of Man here. This is the pretty attrition force, horse. I was meant to say horse, and then I just said cavalry. This heat is messing with my brain. So this is the cavalry unit that has been taking quite a bit of attrition damage over the past few turns. I wouldn't be surprised to see Uther on the field in the next 2 or 3 turns. Kingdom of Man likes fielding Uther because they can't really do any real research to increase magic with them. And he has actually been fielded already. And as I said, I'm not surprised. So this is like a strange position to be in for Kingdom of Man. Simply because you get a bonus basically for your god being on the field for morale. But if your god dies, all of your troops break. And Uther's a melee god, so he's going to be trying to get up in the shit. So it's very possible that he straight up just dies, which is not a good place to be. The entire force will be routed, and even if it's like a favored battle for Kingdom of Man, if they're winning, it doesn't matter if their god dies. Man, these Vinemen are so good. Thinking on who's going to win the next semifinal upper bracket, I wonder who would get the better chance against Aramor. I know we're making the assumption that Aramor wins out against Pangaea, but I mean, it just seems that that's going to be the case. Aramor is just so strong. So I don't know who I'd give it to. Asphodel has a sort of a balance mechanic, I guess, to Aramor. They're less Aramor than, I don't know, they don't have as much of a boon snowball effect as Aramor, but I think they might be able to cause some havoc against Aramor if they get like a good start and Aramor gets like stale, like some stale turns where they're not doing anything. But, you know, I'm not saying that Kingdom of Man is bad. I play Kingdom of Man, and they're really good. Like, their units are really fucking good. So, like, I think maybe they have a chance. And why is this commander of this mercenary group is really placed weird? Like, he could straight up just die at any moment to, like, these stone throwers from the Jaguar warriors. But we've seen more, like, mercenary attacks by Kingdom of Man than I think we've ever seen in a round. I mean, I'm not really complaining. They're being successful. They're pushing out. I think they're gonna create the stronger front line against Asphodel at this point. But Asphodel is potentially taking 2 territories here. And as I said, Asphodel can move into the water to get additional income for them, and as well as additional Vinemen. I'm pretty sure Vinemen can be summoned in underwater provinces because they are poor amphibians, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, man, I love the Minotaurs, man. The Minotaurs are so good. Oh, anything with trample is so good. Looks like they're finally deciding to take a frontline stance against the Kingdom of Man, because they know Man's down in the south. They're losing a lot of Minotaurs here. They lost like half their Minotaurs. That's not a good engagement. Seeing as how the main like assaulting force of Man now is going to be moving, I would be willing to bet into obviously one of these territories. Maybe they want to get the Asphodelian province out of here, but I have a feeling they're just going to go straight up. And they're not. They're starving because they refuse. See, this is the main issue here. Like, they're on like a defensive stance or something. Like, they're refusing to move out. And because of that, they're losing some of their units. Because they're refusing to move out. That's not a good place to be in if you're a Kingdom of Man fan. Same thing is going on with Asphodel. They're refusing to make a move because any assault on any of these neutral territories or any of these territories in general from either faction is going to result in a massive counterattack. But hopefully we get one of those soon. They lost the crossbowman troop. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Man is trying to amass a very large assault. And they actually bought, I think those are the Elephant Mercenaries. They are indeed the Elephant Mercenaries, or one of the Elephant Mercenaries that you can get. Both factions are stale here. This is, I don't know who's favored here, because the longer this game goes on, the higher chance of a, event that happens that causes me to lose my territory here, which straight up loses the game for one of these factions because the neutrals took it, and we have to rely on Dominion. So, I don't know. This is probably not good for any of these factions to really just like stalemate here. Finally, we have an assault going on. This is not a good place for Man because it looks like there's gonna be a push towards the Kingdom of Citus, which is my faction. So I don't know. And this like super zoomed in on this hill. Like is always like it hurts my neck. Like I don't know if you guys get that. Like if you play a game where like the camera normally follows you or something, kind of like Terraria. I know this is like a real big non sequitur, but I remember the first time I hit the underworld in that game years ago. Like going across where the camera no longer like follows you because it hit the boundary. Like that really hurt my neck for some reason because like you're used to the camera having a certain amount of like room based around everything. And the Independents actually took that territory with their knights. You can't really, like those knights too are really strong. Like I used to, when I first started playing this game, I was like, oh, neutrals, they're not strong at all. But those knights, you gotta respect them. They do so much damage. They're like tier 2 cavalry. I think they are tier 2 cavalry. But looking at the map, Asphodel's kind of faltering a little bit. I mean, I feel like they should have more of these territories, judging by their troop size, and they don't actually have a whole lot of troops. if we go on the score graphs here, Kingdom of Man, I think, has more troops. And they have about double, if not double, the amount of troops. The Kingdom of Man, as I said, they are an industrial powerhouse. They can pump out troops left and right. They can easily push back Asphodel here. And they're actually not going for Asphodel yet. They are actually moving their way towards my kingdom. Both factions are doing this. So this might be over relatively quick. This is a guaranteed victory. The amount of cavalry here, even though it's like trash cavalry, it's still enough to instantly just destroy the not so good Lion Tribe archers. And look at the field. We have Uther on the field behind the elephant mercenaries. Well, we have some alicorns here. We have some chalice knights, even though that's not what they're called. I like to call them chalice knights because I play a lot of Warhammer. So we have the Knights of Babylon. And I know we've already shown them, but they are so good. Look at all these attacks that they get. They get hoof attacks. They get the alicorn attack. They get the broadsword. And like, look at the damage types here. So if something's resistant to piercing, they have slash and they have bludgeoning. If something's resistant to slash, they have all of these. They have all the damage types here, and they have a magic attack. So if things aren't able to be normally they're like ethereal or whatnot, which makes them. Oh my god, it's so loud. I can't even think. Oh my god, those elephants are so fucking loud. Anyway, so if there's an ethereal being, which makes it so that normal weapons have a hard time hitting them. The magic attacks of the alicorns counters that. Oh, this is not looking good. So both factions are at the borders of my territory. Either one could take me out, though I don't think it takes a certain level of ballsiness to take on a fort. I mean, the AI needs a certain level of ballsiness to do that. Because you never really know how many troops are going to be there, and typically the AI will try to have, like, I don't know, 100 to 200 level, what am I saying? 100 to 200 troops before they take an attack against the fort, especially home province. But here we go. We got the carrion beast elephant, which got sleep vines, which I was talking about. It does fatigue damage, so it breaks units, as well as doing decent damage. And it's got trample, and it's got poor amphibian. But I mean, they are carrion beasts, so like they have to rely on their other units. So they're not. I don't know what's better. I don't know if carrion beasts are valued higher than elephants. I value them both really high. They can do a whole lot of work, but you don't want them. It's a weird thing. You want them on the front line, but you also don't want them to be like the first units to hit. So you want them on your flanks, so that you have a strong frontline unit, set of infantry to push forward, tie the enemy up, and then like a turn or two later, we have elephants that come along the flank and then push through with a trample. Long dead warriors that are like the lizardmen. I don't think I've seen that before from this mercenary dude. Like long dead is normally like I associate with like these, or maybe like legionnaires. But I don't think I've seen like the lizardman version of undead long dead. That's kind of cool. Though his entire force is pretty much gone. And Asphodel has been routed. Oh man, that's unfortunate. So actually, Asphodel doesn't have access yet to my home territory, though Kingdom of Man does, and it's going to be curious to see what they do. There's a decent-sized force of Asphodel here and here. This neutral territory is probably going to be taken. I think Man is going to chicken out and not do anything on this front. They might go for this territory, but they have to be concerned with this large of a force here. But we will see. And actually, it is Asphodel taking the first attack. Actually, both factions wanted the neutral territory, so it's not actually an attack by Asphodel. It's an unfortunate circumstance that Asphodel and the Kingdom of Man decided to attack one of the last neutral territories on the map. Oh, this is not good. Oh, this is not good. They win, though. They win this fight. They lost half their elephants. Oh, this is not good though. They lost half their elephants. And how much health does he have? 72 HP. I mean, I guess he only lost a little bit. So, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Like he did, I mean, he's pretty weak as it is because of enemy territory. Oh, wait, that wasn't the battle, I don't think. So I think we're okay. There might be a larger force assaulting the neutral territory. Whoa, they have a Mind Flare. Oh man, dude, this is Mind Blast. Mind Blast is great. It might say it does 1 damage, but it does psychic damage. And the cool thing about it is that it stuns its target most of the time. That's why I like the Kingdom of Relay. Relay is in the lower bracket. Oh man, dude, like the Mind Flayers in that, the Illithids are so good. And man is actually okay, so is this the territory that gets flipped here? Or potentially flipped? If this is the territory that gets potentially flipped, I think Asphodel is gonna take it. Like this force, I don't think can stand up to, if both Asphodelian forces encroach on this territory at once as the ones that I highlighted before, I don't think man holds this. But if only one of them goes after it, like let's say the Minotaur force, the Minotaurs might actually still just take it here. Oh, enough blabbering! We're gonna see. And it looks like it's the, maybe it's both forces. Holy shit. Asphodel definitely has the advantage here. They have a Carrion Beast and a bunch of Minotaurs. Though you never know, this is their sacred unit here, but the whips are just too strong. And like all of the man's forces are routing here. They just have too many like low tier units to keep up with the surprisingly strong mannequins and the really strong Minotaurs. Like they just need a lot more Knights of Man or Knights of Avalon or Wardens. They just had a lot of neutrals surprisingly too, so I mean, I guess that's why, and I guess they're starting to build up some defenses here. So where's this fort? Right here. All right, so it looks like these are gonna be our battle lines. Can this Asphodel? No, I can't. Okay, so this is where Asphodel's like largest force was. They might be moving around here, but man has the numbers advantage here, and I think they could definitely start taking some of these little frontline territories without any recompense, really. Sure, they have a lot. Asphodel has a lot of like really strong forces on their side, and we'll take a look at that right now. It looks like they split their super big force here, and maybe Screech here is gonna be taking some underwater territories, which is good for Asphodel. Another thing good for Asphodel though, that this goes to a neutral victory, where the neutrals take me out. Asphodel has a stronger Dominion, like base Dominion. Oh no, this is not good. There's a lot of events happening here. I don't normally do this, but I'm curious because there's, wow, 2,000 gold. Oh, losing to Dominion is not good when the win condition is in fact Dominion. Will these knights take this province? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. One elephant did a whole lot of work. Isn't this the province? Like, there's too many units here. I think this is the province that they built the castle. Which is very lucky that that was the effect. I didn't want to actually watch the video again. Let's quit out of that. No, it's not. I thought that was the one they built the castle on. But it wasn't. But if we look at the statistics one more time, the Dominion should be on Asphodel's side, and it is. So if neutrals take me out, despite the possibility of late game man winning, Asphodel will take it. And Asphodel has some forces on this front line. Well, man needs to go on the aggressive. They can't hold back, and it's a shame that the AI obviously doesn't know the win conditions, all of them at least. So they're in this position where they think they can they hold out here and not do any attacks, but this is not going to be good for them. Both factions are stalling. The stall actually affects, like, helps out both factions in different ways. They're still stalling. They're attempting to move their forces. Like, what is this consolidation of power here by man? Like, the AI is making some strange calls, though they're finally building some cathedrals here. Both factions are. Asphodel has, I think, more cathedrals, so, I mean, that once again is going to go to Asphodel. And they are going into the monster depths. Is it going to be Screech leading the forces here? It looks like it is indeed Screech. Can I click on him? Thank you. It is Screech. All right. I called it. I could tell they were getting ready for an underwater assault. This would be an easy victory for the mannequin. And remember, the longer this game goes on, the more of an advantage that Asphodel is going to get. They effectively get free units, and then any damage those free units do to the opponent is free, like, economy damage. So, and the more territories they get, the more guys they get per turn. So man needs to push and not just do this weird shit where they're not doing anything. They keep consolidating forces into one province and then immediately spreading them out evenly. They can't do this if they have any hopes of taking out Asphodel here. Though I think we had a battle, at least one faction, that was a long turn. Okay, so we have two neutral battles taken on by Asphodel here. Kingdom of Man had a very strong start, and they do have a military advantage, and I still put them at a higher chance of winning through military, simply because of their powerhouse and military powerhouse with crazy economy bonuses. But if they keep stalling, that's not gonna come into play here. Like, they have a strong late game, don't get me wrong. Wardens are really strong. Alicorns are really strong. But when you're fighting units that are free, that can do damage and indeed kill your really strong units, like your Alicorns or your Wardens, it doesn't matter that you have a lot of them if they're taken down for free, basically. And it's not like Aramor. We didn't look at the small sea battle, but Asphodel was successful there. We don't necessarily need to see that neutral battle. Oh my god! What are you doing? So this is the potatoing that I love to hate and hate to love. What is man doing here? They are not doing anything! Ugh! Come on, make some moves, my god! No, I like to see this this dude. He's got to be a mercenary, but Asphodel failed with their dude. Those mini shambler dudes, like the thrall dudes, the four-legged guys. They're not really that strong. Okay, it was a special event where a single skeleton tried to kill the Black Dryad. It's pretty cool. We're not getting attacks because it wasn't a long thing. And it was permanently vanquished. This is the end! We hit the end, and we can already tell that Asphodel has won. I know it's kind of weird that we get the quick end here, but that's just how the cookie crumbles, because if I hit the end turn button, I'm pretty sure it will end completely, and I don't want to change the rules because we already had a winner. So, the end is going to be given... I can't believe it. Asphodel has won. I mean, I have to check the score graphs, but judging how there's Dominion strength and the refusal of the Kingdom of Man to push, they threw the game completely, and I'm very disappointed in the Kingdom of Man. Uther Pendragon, you deserve to be killed. Maybe Arthur will be a better god than you, but dang, Uther, you really gave it up. And in before, for some miracle or something, that Kingdom of Man has more Dominion, but I don't think that's the case at all. Last time we checked, it looked like it was at least a 50-point lead on Asphodel. So let us check. That's the complete wrong button. Score graphs. Yeah, it's like a 150-point lead almost. We have a winner The Kingdom of Asphodel has taken it. But look at this army size. Kingdom of Man, you could have done it. You could have done it. Look at this income. You had more forts. You could have done it, but you just potatoed. And I don't know why you had like forces of 200 to like 300 along this border, but you refused to push into like enemy units that only had like 50 or so. But hey, Asphodel won. Here we go. Under siege, no god available. That is when the turn ends. That is when you lose. So the independent sieged me, and I was unsuccessful in defending the province. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have another victory by neutrals. And it looks like the Kingdom of Man is out of the tournament. Will we have an Asphodel versus Airmore match in the upper bracket finals? Who knows? I'm gonna actually set up the next round real quick for you, ladies and gentlemen. Just give me a couple seconds and enjoy the music. Until next